Station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Ahead on DC News Now at noon, the future of the FBI headquarters is still up in the air. We've got the latest on where it could potentially end up. And later, two separate shootings happened in Adams Morgan. We'll give you the latest details on what we know about the two people killed this weekend. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annalisa Gale, filling in for Mark Hall. We start with meteorologist Damon Matson. Damon, as we inch closer now to Christmas Eve later this week, we are bracing for some cold weather coming our way.
Oh, cold is an understatement, Annalisa. We are talking about some Arctic air potentially coming in. Hope everyone is ready. But first and foremost, hey, on this Tuesday, we already had a pretty chilly start to our day. Are we expecting things to pretty much stay on the chilly side? Well, hopefully not. Look at the view right there of the cathedral. Again, a blue sky helping to make it feel a little bit better out there. No doubt that early morning sunshine making a bit of a difference. There's how cold we were earlier this morning. We did drop down into the 20s in the DC metro. That was right on par with just about everybody else here as we went throughout the early morning hours, but then even across parts of the I-81 corridor in Northern Virginia. We got down into the teens, and look at that. We are still chilly, no question. We have 30s out there at this point, but that is at least an improvement from what we had experienced earlier on. Now, of course, we are focused on that strong storm system that is set to arrive Thursday and bring about first some wintry precip, followed by rain, and then wind and cold. The first part of that, of course, the wintry precip, is what is prompting this winter storm watch that is in effect through the entire day on Thursday across western Maryland into parts of West Virginia. Within the watch is where we're most expecting there to be some wintry precipitation that accumulates in the form of snow and some freezing rain. Now, we could see that wintry precip for a few hours off to the east from Hagerstown, Martinsburg, and Winchester over to DC, but we're not expecting it to stick to the ground before we switch over to just rainfall. But again, the primary impact from this storm is going to be the strong winds we're going to see, followed by Arctic cold for your Christmas weekend. How much are those temperatures going to drop? We'll have your full forecast coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Damon. Well, happening now with another deadline looming. The clock is ticking for lawmakers to avoid another government shutdown. They'll now have to review a $1.7 trillion funding package that was unveiled today. Government funding is set to expire a day before Christmas Eve. One of the holdups deciding on the location for the new FBI headquarters. The question, will it be in either Virginia or Prince George's County? DC News Now's Lex Juarez has more details in the newsroom on what will happen next.
Well, it all comes down to right here in the DMV. Virginia and Maryland lawmakers are scratching and clawing to bring the new FBI headquarters to their side of the district. And along with that, plenty of jobs, money, and development opportunities. Well, the debate actually caused the first major holdup in getting the spending bill passed this week. Just overnight, the first draft of Omnibus was released, but lawmakers were shooting to have it finalized on Monday. And the lawmakers from Maryland and Virginia were fighting to change language in the bill that would give their state the new FBI HQ. But after hours of back and forth, they agreed to disagree and worked out a deal for the General Services Administration to meet with both sides for further discussion. While Virginians already benefit from having Quantico, Maryland lawmakers argue that their jurisdictions should get the headquarters.
Taxpayers are going to continue to be faced with higher burdens in Prince George's County because we don't have the economic development that Northern Virginia has, that the District of Columbia has.
Well, according to the Financial Services Spending Bill, $50 million will be invested in building the new FBI HQ. And the decision right now is between Springfield, Virginia, Landover, Maryland, and Greenbelt, Maryland. In the newsroom, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
Well, developing in the district now, according to two new studies, the rate of child homicide in America rose steeply during the pandemic, along with the number of children injured by firearms. The child homicide rate has increased consistently since 2013. According to JAMA Pediatrics, which studies health issues among young people, the child homicide rate has increased by more than 4% each year. That number spiked in 2020 when it jumped by 28% in a single year. The study says a majority of child homicides were among Black children. Homicide is the leading cause of death among American children. Well, 2 people are dead and a third person was injured after 2 separate shootings in Adams Morgan this weekend. Police say Avon Perkins was shot and killed on 18th Street Northwest over the weekend. Less than 24 hours later, Darren CMC McQueen there was fatally shot on Euclid Street. City leaders say the district and business community are investing the resources needed to make Adams Morgan a safe place to live.
It's been a place where they've invested a great deal of time and energy and thought and resources in preventing violence, and we're just planning to continue working together. They've got a safety ambassador and they're hiring a second one.
Police are looking for a white Chevy Volt with silver rims in connection to the shooting on Euclid. A $25,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest in both cases. An update now on the man accused of killing a gas station clerk and a pregnant woman in Montgomery County. A district court judge says right now Tory Moore is not competent to stand trial. DC News Now's Leonard N. Fleming has the latest on the investigation.
There is a second warrant still outstanding for Mr. Moore, where he is charged with the murder of the woman whose body was found in his apartment and with the death of the child that she was carrying at the time.
Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy held a media briefing about forthcoming charges coming against Tory Damian Moore. Denise Middleton's badly decomposed body was found in his Silver Springs apartment earlier this month when he was arrested for allegedly murdering a store clerk.
That warrant has been authorized by the commissioner in Montgomery County. It just has not been served yet.
Moore was caught on video December 8th at the Dash Inn store, allegedly shooting Ayalu Wandimu. He was shot multiple times after a verbal confrontation. Police on December 9th arrested Moore at his apartment where Middleton's body was found. She was also at full term. Prosecutors say there was a relationship between the two.
Quite candidly, I can't offer an explanation for why we've had this much delay. It is surprising to me.
The judge rejected Moore's plea to be released and ordered him held without bond. He will be reviewed by the County Department of Health to measure his competency.
For the purposes of the community safety, it's important to note that he is not freeing the community. He is being held without bond because of the dangerousness, even though it's still pending as an evaluation for competency.
Again, that was Leonard N. Fleming reporting there. Well, back to the district now, where a D.C. corrections officer is accused of embezzling thousands of dollars from union funds to pay for various activities, including a trip to New York City. Andra Parker was chairman of the Department of Corrections Labor Committee. The FBI says he used those unions' bank account to pay for flights, a Times Square hotel there, and tickets to see a musical in December of 2018. Investigators say during that trip, he also went to a Washington Wizards game at Madison Square Garden. He is also accused of buying tickets for a concert in North Bethesda on a separate occasion. Parker is facing now a wire fraud charge. D.C. Attorney General Karl Racine is making a big announcement, saying his office has reached a first-of-its-kind settlement to stop the displacement of longtime residents and preserve affordable housing in Ward 5. The settlement protects tenants at the Hawaii Webster apartment from unsafe living conditions. It also protects people from being pushed out of their homes by redevelopment. This is happening as property owners signed a historic affordable housing deal requiring them to stabilize rent for the next 25 years. The property owners will now have to complete renovations and pay the district $1 million. Happening today, the D.C. Council is set to vote on a bill that could drastically change the way housing policy works in the district. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser proposed a plan scaling back the current D.C. Housing Authority Board from 13 members to 7 new ones. If passed, that new plan would give her full control over who is appointed to that board. Several months ago, a federal report from the Department of Housing and Urban Development pointed to systemic problems within DCHA. We'll have much more on that later on. Well, a fast start to the flu season and spikes in other respiratory illnesses have led to a shortage of children medications like fever relievers there. Experts say the main factor behind the shortages is that a lot of kids are getting sick at the same time. Doctors predict the shortage could last through the winter cold and flu season, but should not be as long as recent shortages in baby formula and prescription drugs. Stores have tried to fight back against that shortage by setting limits on how much medication people can buy online or in store. Also happening today, another congressional committee is set to vote on whether to publicly release former President Trump's tax returns. The Democratic-controlled House Ways and Means Committee is expected to vote today on whether to release years of his tax returns. Last month, the Supreme Court cleared the way for the Treasury Department to send those returns to Congress. Developing now, crews in Fairfax County are investigating a fire at a home in Lorton. These photos are from Fairfax County Fire and Rescue. This was what it looked like when they got there to the scene. Fortunately, though, no one was injured. And an update on the Fairfax County Police investigation this weekend. They've charged a 16-year-old from Centerville with multiple felonies after a robbery in Arlington. Police arrested the teen at Tyson's Corner Center yesterday. We're told 3 suspects ran when they were approached by police in the mall. 2 were captured, but only one of them is facing charges because police found a gun on him. That incident caused an evacuation at the Tyson's Corner Center. This is the 3rd time since June that a scare has prompted a police response at the mall. Despite the recent trend, though, police are ensuring shoppers that the mall is safe.
It is safe at the mall. You know, we have plenty of officers on scene, and we have plenty of officers who are going to respond when they're needed to respond there.
The police department does not plan on increasing their presence in the area. All right, turning